Welcome to the Lean Solutions Podcast, where we discuss business solutions to help listeners develop and implement action plans for true lean process improvement. I am your host, Patrick Adams. Hello and welcome to the Lean Solutions Podcast, Season 3. In the spirit of continuous improvement, we decided to change things up a bit this season. We will still have all of our amazing guests to come and share a ton of value with all of you, but we're adding a few additional hosts to add a little bit of flavor and additional experiences from around the world. So let's go ahead and meet them. Let's start out with our first host, Andy Ulrich. Andy, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
G'day, Patrick. Yeah, g'day. I'm Andy Ulrich. I live in Australia and about 100 miles north of Sydney, or 160 kilometres. So, yeah, I'm a passionate lean practitioner. I work currently now for a water utility as a continuous improvement and innovation lead. Started out in a trade background back in the day, but always been fairly strongly linked to customer and things like that, and have worked my way through some leadership roles and things like that. And then I caught the lean bug, and I was fortunate enough to get around some passionate people like you guys who gave me some good insights. And yeah, I'm just really keen to learn from the guests that we've got on. Hopefully I can give some good advice here and there, but really excited, and thanks, Patrick, for the invitation, and yeah, really looking forward to Season 3.
Great. And Andy, you are you were a guest in, I believe, Season 2, earlier in Season 2 of the Lean Solutions Podcast. And when you were on, we had some great conversations, but clearly you're not from the US, so you're from down under in Australia. And so you'll be able to add some of your experiences in working in operations and lean within the Australian environment, and specifically in government and manufacturing, correct?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's hopefully some differences down here, but it's also be good to talk about the common challenges that touch this across the world. So yeah, really exciting. Thanks, Patrick, and thanks for having me on. It was great fun.
Absolutely. Andy, what would you say in your experience, what would you say has been your greatest challenge as a lean practitioner?
Getting people to, getting people to get it, I guess. Like there's that tipping point where you start to get them on the way, and then it gets to that point where you've really got to step over that edge to really keep the discipline and go forward with it to truly see those results. Or this is getting a bit hard and there's a bit of disruption. We'll just pull back into that, that safe space. So for me, the greatest challenge is, having those people that when the chips are really down, getting them to believe, I guess, and just take that next little step that changes everything. So, and it's hard because I was in that position myself once upon a time. I was like, oh, look, we're just busy. I can't slow. I feel like I'm stopping, I'm slowing right down. So that's really something that I recognize in the moment, but I'm just like, yeah, that's always the challenge, is getting that. It's all fun while things are going well, but then as it gets tough, that's where it really must, stick to the standard and the discipline to see those results. And then if you can have that moment, it's great. Like it really, people get it. So
love it. Well, I'm excited to have you as a co-host. We're going to be trading off between the four of us throughout the season, and so I'm excited to jump on a few shows with you and have some conversations. So excited for you to be here. I'm going to shift over now to our second host. So Shane, can you give our listeners a little bit of your background? Introduce yourself to us.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Hey, my name is Shane Doffenbach, and I am from the center of America here in Nebraska. Have been here for, I don't know, maybe 20 years or so. My background has always been in the service industry of some sort. I was 20 years as a pastor, and then I was operations and outside sales for a small company of electricians. And now I work for state government and am working in that realm, again, kind of that service transaction. I love working with people. If you see a thread, that's what you're going to see through all of my work experience, is that. And I'm just finding much like Andy, I'm late to the party when it comes to lean and Lean Six Sigma and all of that. But as soon as I came across that and started reading about it and understanding more about it, I said, yes, this is where I want to go. This is the space that I want to play in. And I have been enjoying it immensely, full time for the last probably 5 years or so. So that's pretty much where I am.
Love it, love it, Shane. And you're doing some amazing work in state government. You and I have crossed paths a number of times and actually done some work together. The thing that I think everybody is wondering right now, after they just heard your introduction, is how did you move from being a pastor to working in continuous improvement in state government? I mean, that's a huge swing. What happened there?
Yeah. I was working on my doctorate. I was working on a doctorate of ministry. I fell in love with the project that I was researching and I was working on, and my wife and I decided, hey, that's something we really want to pursue. And then I needed to get a real job. So it was out of necessity.
Sure.
And in regard to state government, my wife has been working state government much longer than I have, and appreciated the benefits and the things that state government offers. We also just love serving other people. And so it was when I saw the job description, I was like, I have no idea these words they put in here. I don't know what they are, but I'm willing to learn if they'll have me. And it was just that. It really wasn't anything. It was almost by accident. I just stumbled into it and I fallen in love with it and am continuing to learn more and more about it. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Well, I consider myself a lifelong learner, and obviously, as a good lean practitioner is someone that's willing to learn and continue to grow and develop. So you had the first box checked in the beginning, and obviously it's continued to develop, and I just love your experiences and some of the things that you've shared with during some training sessions and things that I've seen you and listened to you speak and coach, and I'm excited for you to be part of the show, one of our co-hosts, and adding some value to the group. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Very excited about it as well. Very excited.
All right. Awesome. Well, so we started in Australia. We moved to the middle of the United States. Obviously, I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so I'm not really central like Shane is, more northeast. But now let's shift all the way across the pond, as we say it, to Ireland, and let's talk to Catherine. Catherine, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes. Hi, Patrick, and hi, everybody. I am super excited to be here. So yes, let me introduce myself just for a few minutes. So I am a lean business and a leadership coach, and I am an independent consultant. So I call my business MCD Consulting. I haven't been in the business too long. I've had my business since 2018. And before that, I spent 13 years in the nonprofit sector, in the social care sector. And I suppose I actually think it was a great way to start out in life, because the nonprofit social care side of life is very challenging. It's very turbulent. It's full of issues and inefficiencies. Well, it was back then. I think it has come a long way since then. But back when I started, there wasn't even what we call HICWA inspections or anything like that. So it was a very, very challenging environment to work in. And I think actually that's where I found my love of problem solving and working with other people and teams and all of the things that we do in lean. So it gave me a kind of a good introduction to the practical side of lean without even ever having done lean. So a bit like yourselves, I did find lean along the way, and I absolutely loved the concept. I said, this is exactly what the nonprofit sector needs. So it took me a few years, and I went back and I studied a little bit and I changed route a little bit. But now for the last few years, as a lean coach and a leadership coach, I work with lots of different organizations, mainly in the service sector and nonprofit sector. And I work with teams within organizations to train them in lean and also to help them facilitate lean interventions. And I also provide leadership coaching, because I suppose something that I found very early on is that you can't separate lean and leadership. So you need really excellent leadership in order to, I suppose, deliver on lean or be a lean company. So I went off and I did some leadership coaching. So that's what I offer. I offer the leadership coaching to anybody who's involved in leading teams in a lean organization, as well as then helping teams with the lean side of things. So that is what I do.
Love it. Love it. Catherine, what would you say has been your greatest achievement over the years that you've been applying lean as a practitioner or a consultant?
Yeah, so I could look at the cost side, but I'm not really going to, because I think, look, that's what everybody turns to first, and look at the costs. It's not really about that. And the organizations that I work with don't come back and tell me, oh, we're delighted we saved money, or they are happy they've got extra capacity and time to do things, and that also results in extra revenue. But I think probably my biggest achievement is when I work with smaller businesses, people who've worked together for a very long time, who have stopped communicating, who are like a team of old married couples in a negative sense, and who've just stopped not even talking, but stopped listening to each other. So actually, my greatest achievements is when I can go into a company and help the team to start listening to one another, talking to each other, and set up really good communication and collaboration systems to help people just get along and to work effectively together. So I think when I can go in and do that, that for me is my biggest achievement.
Love it. That's great. Well, I'm excited for the four of us to embark into season 3. Obviously, this is going to be brand new for us. So for all of you that are listening in, we'd love to hear your thoughts on how the season is going throughout the year. Basically, the way that we're going to set this up is between Catherine, Shane, Andy, and I. There will be a minimum of 2 hosts on every episode, and then we'll have 1 or 2 guests in addition to that. So the idea is that there'll be a little bit more chatter, conversation, maybe some shared experiences. If you know anything about Shane, he's got an amazing sense of humor. So we're looking for maybe some jokes from him.
Appropriate, we're open.
Yeah.
Appropriate sense of humor.
Appropriate, yes. But really, we wanted to have a diverse offering from across the world, right? Lean is being applied in every industry, and it is being applied all over the world, whether it's government, whether it's nonprofit, whether it's manufacturing, banking. All these different industries are applying the principles of lean and continuous improvement, and the experiences. I think I'm excited to share, all of our experiences and also have some really, really great dialogue and conversations with some new guests this season. So I don't know, what are you guys excited about? Catherine, Shane, Andy, anybody want to throw out any thoughts on what you're looking forward to for this season?
Yeah, I mean, learning. And as you said at the start, I mean, we're never done learning. And I think if we sit in our own bubble for too long, especially me, I work, as an independent consultant, and I love this opportunity to learn. I absolutely relish it. So I'm so excited to learn from everybody else.
Love it.
I knew I should have gone first. That's exactly, that's where I was going. I love connecting with people. That's just been something that I've always been about, and trying to learn and to glean, some of the things that work for them, some of the things that they have learned that I don't have to go through, if I can learn that as well. So I'm super excited and jazzed about that. I also just love the idea of conversation, and the within reason, the more people you can add into that conversation, just the livelier and the richer that conversation can get. So I'm also excited about, as one who does listen to the Lean Solutions podcast, I'm excited about watching this grow into having richer dialogues and those kind of things. Yeah. So, Andy, what's left? What do you like?
Maybe just what those two said. Absolutely. I do this job because I love connecting with people and their stories, not totally what they're doing now, but how people ask me, how did you get into this stuff and what is this stuff? So that's what and I always, as a listener of the podcast as well, it's fascinating the different industries that this is applied, and it really helps me, take that back in my role where people say, oh, we're not manufacturing, that's something that gets bounced out. I'm really passionate about getting but more widely known that this is applicable anywhere. And the way that I really connect with people well is to know a bit more about them, and it helps make it real. So, yep, it's my first swing as a official podcast host. So, talk about learning. Let's just give it a go. I'm so excited. So, yeah, thank you.
Love it. No, that's great. I'm excited for all of us. It's going to be a fun season. We have a really great lineup of speakers and topics throughout the year, so it'll be a lot of fun. Well, let's shift a little bit here, team, to our topic for today. I want to take just a few minutes to discuss a viral video, a song that's a little bit controversial, maybe a lot controversial here in the U.S. I do not want to make this political, but I am talking about Oliver Anthony and his new hit, #1 hit, Richmond, North of Richmond. I know this sounds weird because we've never done this before on the podcast, on the Lean Solutions podcast. But like I said, we're changing things up a little bit here. We're gonna try some things. Now, this particular song actually became an overnight viral hit. And this happened just over this past year. But within days of its release, it topped sales and streaming charts. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making Anthony the first artist to debut atop the chart without any prior chart history of any form, right? So this particular song, as I mentioned it, some people are calling it a topical song or, protest music. Again, I do not want to make this political, so I want to throw that out right away. This isn't a political thing. But in listening to this song, especially just the beginning of the song, the first few lines of lyrics, it struck me in thoughts about some of the experiences that I've had in different environments and cultures with companies here in the U.S. And I think that, if we put a focus on what it means to have, let's just think about a toxic culture, toxic environment, what does that do to your employee culture? If the leadership is one that's based in power and fear-based type of leadership, what does that do to our culture, and what does it do to support a continuous improvement environment? So that's kind of what popped into my head, and that's what I want to talk about. Let's just take a listen to just the first few lines of this song here real quick, so bear with me.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause you don't.
All right, I'll stop it right there. And what I want to do is, the line right at the end there just really, really stood out to me, right? He speaks about control and awareness. He says, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control, want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think that you know, but I know that you do. So these words are just this powerful reminder that, most people know what the powerful want, right? But often they feel helpless, or this lack of strength to challenge them, or they don't know how to challenge or push back, or they're scared to, right? I talked about fear-based culture. But I think what in this part right here, what stood out to me is really this call to recognize as an employee, as a frontline worker, as a manager, this call to recognize our own power and our own awareness, and the ability for us personally to make a difference or be able to make a difference in the culture or the environment that we're working in, right? So how many of us have worked in organizations or where, or worked for leaders where it was clear that they wanted total control of decisions, total control of the direction of things, right? They were accountable, just complete control or where it created this fear-based culture. So my question to you guys, and maybe just an open conversation, can a continuous improvement culture flourish in this type of environment, right? Any thoughts on that? Shane, anything from you?
I appreciate the song because for me it's like a voice of the customer. One of the things that we do in state government, or at least here in Nebraska, is we we go to our employees and we ask, hey, you're part of this process, whether it's upstream, downstream, or elbows deep in it. Tell us about the process. And as uncomfortable as it may be, or as much as you want to push it away or dismiss it, that's part of what lean is. And that's one of the things that I like about that song is it gives us an opportunity, if we're willing to listen to the voice of the customer. What is it that the customer is saying? What kind of issues are they having? And you just laid those out. It's about control. It's about feeling almost micromanaged is what I was hearing in that. And I want to know what you're doing. I want to know what you're thinking. All of that. And I've seen the detrimental impacts and effects of that, and it is not good. And it's as painful it is for me to say this. It was in a lean environment that I saw that, and this was a lean leader who was leading in this way, and it just tore the team apart. Like it did not work whatsoever. People were leaving, or they were asked to leave. I mean, it was just a morale killer.
So true. I love that whole concept of voice of the customer, because how many leaders are willing to ask the people that report to them, their team, how they're doing as a leader, how is my leadership, and what do I need to improve on? What you have to be humble enough and open enough to accept what they're going to say, and sometimes it might not be all positive, and you have to be open and willing to adjust your leadership style accordingly, right? Catherine, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, definitely. Again, the song just resonated with me as well, and I just kept watching his face, not even the words, but just his face, like he was really feeling it. And it is an issue. I mean, so many people spend so many hours in work and come home at the end of the day feeling awful, and that's not right. And I do think workplaces need to step up and own that, or at least take some ownership of it. So it is a big challenge with lean, when as a lean practitioner, when an organization wants you to go in and do your work, do your thing, and really what they're looking for is a quick fix. And it's not fair, because there are no quick fixes, firstly, and secondly, they're looking for let's say me to go in and wear my consultant hat and give them the answer, and then they go and tell the employees what to do, which means huge changes to their workload and everyday habits and routines and behaviors, with no support and no involvement in the process. And it doesn't work. That's what makes people feel like that at the end of the day, when they're not involved in what's happening. So lean and lean management, a lot of people associated with the wrong way, with the efficiency, with the change. But actually, we do need to spend more time talking about how important it is to engage people in change and improvement and improving their own work. And I think that's the essence of lean. And I think if there was more of that, there'd be less people feeling that way.
Sure, right. Absolutely. If you were to go into an organization, maybe you have gone into an organization that had a similar leadership style as this, I mean, what would be your advice to the group, or maybe you're talking to the leader, maybe you're talking to the employees? I mean, what do you tell them in an environment like this?
Yeah, normally if I go into an organization and they, want me to do that, go in and fix things, I will say I won't, unless I can work with the team. And so then they'll come back and they'll say, well, what does that entail? How many hours do you need? all the rest. So they'll challenge me and then I'll challenge them back a little bit. But generally
Mm-hmm.
what happens is I'll suggest that we start small and local, so that we'll try and take a few hours of a few employees' time, involve them in a very structured process where they can be innovative and creative with a particular goal in mind. And we will pilot that, we will see how we go. And if that works, we'll then maybe roll it out elsewhere in the organization. And that helps them feel at ease.
Love it. And it does seem like this is everything that we're talking about, the four of us, is almost completely opposite of what we're hearing in the song, of what we're hearing from the voice of the customer, right? From what Shane said. I mean, what the people are feeling in this song, it seems like what we're throwing out there as lean practitioners and consultants is almost the complete opposite of that, right? Andy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I can certainly connect with why this song has struck a nerve, especially in the States. Yeah, and for me, when he talks about the old soul, and it's obviously you connect with it because a lot of people feel that way and are in a position where there's those people up high that where they said they want to know what you think, and that's not because I really want to listen to you and see how I can make this a better place to work or whatever. It's like I need to know what you think because I want to potentially stamp that out before that may become a threat to what I've the control that they have. So the thing with me and how I connect this song to lean and continuous improvement is these people have done their jobs, they know them well, and they're hardworking. They just want a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, and it's that opportunity for I hope leaders listen to that song and reflect and go, well, am I doing that to my people? And that's where the core foundations in lean around respect for people and vulnerable leadership, lead with humility, those sorts of things. I think if leaders can let go of a little bit of that fear of, I'm letting go of a bit of this controller I have here, what if it doesn't work? Or I'm the boss, I've got to make all the big calls. So that's what I like about lean is it kind of, if people can connect with it for what it truly is, I see it as it takes a bit of pressure off the leadership. It's like we've got this team, right? And these guys are doing their job every day, and are you asking them enough how it could be done better? Because they're the ones who are right there. So yeah, I think and one of the things about that song, I think where I connect it to lean as such is when this song got released and I saw it popping up down here in Australia on socials and things like that, then I started to see immediately someone's seen something that people, connect with and appreciate and see a lot of value in. Straight away, people started grabbing it and trying to use it for other things and not in the spirit of what that song was. When you hear him talk about it, he's like, I didn't write that song about that, or this didn't mean this, or hang on, no, you've lost what I was talking about.
Right.
I see that with lean all the time. It's like the core principles and foundations, people get away from that and they use it as a, purely around cost cutting, or we'll just leave these bits out and go straight to this bit. So yeah, I connected on several different levels with that particular song. And leaving the politics aside, that's how it goes. And lean is a really good opportunity to get out of that space. And if we are prepared to listen to that voice. So yeah, it's a good one.
No, that's great. I love those points that you made there, Andy. I didn't even think about that piece that you just mentioned about, so many people skewing the what Anthony meant through the song, and putting their own, putting specific names and political, whatever. I mean, it definitely has a heavy political meaning behind it, but not specific to certain things that people were putting out there. And so again, to your point, the same thing happens in lean, where I loved your example of, cost cutting. Like, well, people that are going to do lean, well, that means that we're going to start, not cost cutting, but cutting labor even. Like, we're laying a bunch of people off, and that's what lean is. That's what we need to do in order to become lean. No, that's a completely skewed view of what lean really is. And of course, we are going to look at saving costs, because the result of what we're doing is going to make us more efficient and save costs. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be laying off, people.
Right.
So I love that example. And then the other one that you said too was just specific to leadership, to take a little bit of the weight off of leadership's shoulders is absolutely one of the outcomes of deploying lean into your organization. The problem, though, is that many leaders that I've been, that I have experience with are super comfortable with where they're at. And it is going to take them out of their comfort zone. The result is going to be positive. It's a long-term play. It is going to be positive down the road, but it is going to take some work. And leaders that are willing to do that, the payoff down the road is, astronomical. But it is going to change the way that you do things and take you out of your comfort zone for sure. What do you think on leadership, Shane, from a leadership standpoint, ownership standpoint? Any thoughts?
I think one of the things that this gives us is, in regards to lean in general, lean is like a call for ownership of the impact that leadership has on the employees' lives. Oftentimes we see the people we're working with and then they're gone. We don't think of them anymore. But the reality is, an adult, the majority of their waking life is spent at work. So how are we, in regards to leadership, how are we, enhancing or detracting from their life? Are they going home wanting to drown their sorrows? Are they going home, celebrating with their families? Hey, I had a really great day. This, that, or the other. What is the impact we have? And to Andy's point, that respect for people and that leading with humility is just understanding that I think that we have, as leadership has ownership. They need to start taking ownership, start thinking that way. How am I impacting my employees when they leave here? The time they're giving me, the years and years and years of life that is spent at this job. Like, you have, as a leader, you have a lot of impact in that.
Absolutely. Catherine, you want to weigh in on Shane's comment with leadership impact?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, Shane. I agree with all of that. And I really do believe that, leaders, they're just people. But leaders say what goes. They do have, I suppose, the accountability at the end of the day. So there is pressure on them. I work with a lot of middle managers who are in control of the task, and they have to make sure the task gets done. And on the other side, they're almost like the HR manager. They have to be there to support, and they're told to coach their team and be there for the team. And it's a struggle to do both of those things. We know that is the struggle with for most leaders, is to try and get the balance right there. But I think when people really understand lean and they spend some time in training in it and being coached in it, I think they begin to really see that you have to put people first. Because I know it's been said before, but processes, we cannot develop processes unless we develop people. So part of lean is developing people, and that includes developing the team together and developing individuals. And that means checking in with people. It means getting down to those deep, meaningful conversations with people on a regular basis to find out how you are, how you feel about your work. Because if people don't feel right, then we get on into all these engagement issues and disengagement issues. And we need people who are engaged, and leaders really need to understand that and really need to have those conversations and check-ins to make sure that people, whatever's on their mind, they have somebody to talk through it with and help them. And leaders are in a prime position to do that.
So true. So true. Well, I am crazy excited for this season. As I've already mentioned, hopefully our listener base is getting a good feeling for what this season is going to be like with our amazing hosts this year. So as I mentioned earlier, between the four of us, 2 to 3 of us will be on every show with 1 or 2 guests, and a little bit more back and forth, a little bit more experience, a broader range of experiences and conversation around that. This particular topic that we're talking about right now, I mean, we've only scratched the surface. So there's a lot more conversation that can happen, and maybe we'll continue this conversation in a later episode. But our hope was that we would be able to share some of our own experiences, thoughts on this viral song, and tie it back to continuous improvement, because this is what we live and breathe, continuous improvement. And so we're excited for this season. What I'm going to do is we're going to drop all the LinkedIn contact links into the show notes. So if you're listening to us and you're meeting Catherine for the first time, or you're meeting Shane or Andy for the first time, go to the show notes and you'll be able to go out on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn, see a short bio on each of them. And then we'll also add in some topics for this season, and maybe even some of our guests that will be involved this season. We'd love to hear your thoughts on our new layout of the show. So if you're interested, we'll also put an email link in there too, if you want to throw an email out and let us know what you think. If there's any thoughts, again, we're open to the voice of the customer. So let us know what your thoughts are throughout the season, and we're looking forward to it. Any last comments from anyone to our listener base as we kick off season 3 of the Lean Solutions podcast?
I think you said it all, Patrick.
Let's go.
All right.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Lean Solutions Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please give us a review. Thank you so much.